but the compassion is not. My family does not have much money. We make it paycheck to paycheck. There are no real options for people without the sometimes massive amounts of money needed to have full psychiatric support. The hospital in Wolfville seems to lack compassion. Me and many other people, friends and strangers alike, have been sent to the hospital, then sent to a room with a bed and a camera, very much akin to a lab specimen. It's how you feel when you're in there. It doesn't make you feel very good to be there. Many people I've spoken to have been forgotten. Many people... I lost my spot. Technology, I love it. Yeah, okay, so it doesn't make you feel very good to be there. Many people have been there and been forgotten, sometimes for hours in these rooms. My doctor had called ahead before she sent me, and she was told to get me there right away and that I would be seen immediately. When I arrived, I was placed in that room because I was crying. I was sent there for something to stop the panic attack that I could not end myself. So I sat in this room and cried for 3 hours and 47 minutes straight. Then I was told that the crisis unit would not deal with me because I was too upset. Yeah, you heard that right. Crying was apparently too upset for the crisis unit to handle. I was not screaming, I was not violent, I was not rude, I was simply unable to stop crying. After that nurse told me that I wouldn't be seen, she did not let me say anything. She just shut the door on me, walked away, shaking her head. I stayed in that room after they told me I would not be seen and that I would not receive the medications I was sent there for because I did not feel safe to go home. I've attempted suicide more than once and I've self-harmed for a decade. That is what I told the next nurse who came in. She was surprised that I was still in there because the first nurse told her that I'd left. This new nurse said, "Someone needs this bed right now. You have to leave or he will be removed." That was after I told her I did not feel safe to leave. I asked her what my options were and she simply said, "Go home and make an appointment with a psychiatrist tomorrow." This is not the first time I have told a professional that I did not feel safe to be by myself, and they sent me home by myself anyway. No calls back to check up on me, nothing. This makes you feel worthless, like your life is not even worth bothering with. I've also been to a top psychiatrist in Wolfville. He was extremely expensive and extremely rude. Within 20 minutes, he stopped me mid-sentence, told me that I was clearly attention-seeking, literally threw a couple boxes of antidepressant samples at me, and said that he had to go. I told him how badly that hurt me, and he didn't reply. He left. I was only there 20 minutes, and he told me that I would still have to pay for the full hour, even though he was the one that walked out on me. After that experience, I struggled immensely. I will always remember that night. The point of these two stories is to highlight the fact that some professionals only see their clients as what I view as paychecks. I've experienced this in almost every psychiatrist and psychologist that I've been to, and this makes me wonder how many other people have been mistreated like this. I've heard similar stories from friends and strangers alike. This is a widespread issue here, which brings me to my next concern: funding. Professionals are indeed stretched thin. Funding can help this, but if all we are doing is bringing in more people to treat us like paychecks, I strongly believe this will deeply worsen the already massive problem. We need to find people with compassion and empathy, not people who value their money over the safety of their clients. My case is complex, as I'm sure other people's are as well, but as such, I find most professionals do want to take on my case because of this. They mostly say the same things, that I should be medicated and talk to a psychiatrist often, but my question is, how does this address the root of the problem? Everyone seems more than willing to treat my symptoms, but no one wants to actually try to get to the root of the problem. I've tried 10 different antidepressants, 2 of which have given me side effects that I've been told are permanent and will last for the rest of my life. That is terrifying. We need to bring in people who care about their patients' well-being, people who will call and check up on us if we express that we don't feel safe by ourselves. Not people who want to medicate the symptoms away and tell me to go sit in the hospital to be dealt with. The symptoms will always come back if the root problem is not addressed. Also, I have to say that if crying alone is too much for the crisis unit to deal with, then why is the crisis unit in place? I'm not saying it's all bad, but time and time again, I have been met with people who undermine my problems and at the end of the day are only there for the money. Out of 7 different psychiatrists, I've told 5 that I did not feel safe to go home, but they all told me relatively the same thing. Time is up, go home, or go to the hospital. I do not think the problem lies in lack of resources, though we can definitely benefit from more professionals. But we need to make sure that these professionals are actually there to help us and not just to be paid. What happens to the people like me who can't afford a psychiatrist or psychologist year-round? We are left to cope on our own. That's what happens. I feel like I've fallen so deep through the cracks of society that no one even knows I'm there anymore. And I would not wish that feeling on anyone. But I know other people are feeling this way. This needs to be addressed. We need to be educating the population. We need society to look out for the signs of mental illness in their peers and friends. We need people in general, as well as professionals, to be more compassionate and empathetic, and we need to be taught general mental health and coping skills in schools. Where is there to get information on how to cope? Nowhere until it's too late. Students are getting more stressed out each year at school, and there is still nothing being done to alleviate the stress in that environment. We should not be trying to help people after it's too late. We need to start talking about mental health before it turns into a problem. I strongly believe mental health classes should be mandatory in schools so we can help end the intense stigma around mental health. Mental health should not be a taboo subject. People should be able to come out as mentally ill without being called crazy or weird or a burden. We deserve the same opportunities as people without mental illness have. We need to start talking about what's going on. I strongly believe we need more resources for people who don't have the money to pay for all of this treatment. Prices are going up, but wages are nowhere near enough to be able to pay for the care that we sometimes need. So where does that leave us? The answer is alone. And when people feel hopeless, we lose our battle. We need to bring mental health into the spotlight. We need people to start talking about it and thinking about it. We can't let people continue to fall through the cracks. When I becomes we, illness turns into wellness. I suggest we get volunteers for support systems. We need the population to be more educated in what mental illness looks like and what they can do to help alleviate some of the stress in people's lives. Not everything is bad, but I think we can definitely improve things. I suggest we start screening professionals to see where their motives lie. Do they want to make a difference in people's lives, or do they want that paycheck? Are prescription pills really the magic answer, or should we be working harder to get to the root of the problem? We do need money, yes, but money won't do anything if the professionals aren't able to effectively treat patients' issues. I think we need better training of professionals and better education for the general population. Yeah, I know I said a whole bunch there, but it's just there's so many different problems that I feel like we need to be addressed. I don't even know. There's just, yes, the professionals are stretched thin, but if they don't care about the patients, then where does the money go? You know what I mean? Like, yeah, you can make all that money, but if it's the professionals that don't really know what they're doing and are not willing to help, then the money doesn't really matter, in my opinion. And that's all I have to say, I guess. So, thanks.